And yet, here we find ourselves struggling with many of these issues, and cities as well don't have the option of telling, well, I should say, let me back up there for a moment. The cities do have the option of fighting that battle. If a city were to say this, this Water Act, or the Clean Air and Clean Water Act, if the city were to say that that is unconstitutional, we could legitimately do that. The challenge is, and this is the reason why it's not done, it would be extremely expensive. Think about the court costs of paying your lawyers to go to the Supreme Court. That's a very lengthy process, and even though we may have the legitimate right to say this regulation is unconstitutional, even though if it's a good idea to protect your groundwater this way or your air quality that way, if it's unconstitutional for the federal government to put that in place for a local jurisdiction, most jurisdictions go along with it because it would be too expensive to do otherwise.
Good causes require good funding, right?
Indeed.
Or you let them, or you just don't, you pick your battles.
Exactly.
So it's good. It sounds like wisdom, what you're describing there. You've got a lot of wisdom, just the practical application. And I'm glad to really get to know you here in this conversation, to hear a little bit more of your character. And I hope that there are more people on the council that share that character, those values that leave me feeling like I'm talking to a trustworthy person who can be trusted with power, who can be trusted with stewardship.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I certainly hope that we continue to have good council members join the council who have the citizens' interests at the core of their actions. We
have an election coming up this year. I guess there'll be candidates registering in June. Do you take a part in that? You're not up for re-election, are you?
I am.
Oh, you are? Okay.
When I was retained in November of 2009, that was for the remainder of the last 2 years of a 4-year term. And so that slot is actually naturally up for election this November. So I will be running for election this November as well. And I don't know how many people are going to apply for all the different positions that we have. We have 4 different council member positions in Washougal that are up for election this year. All are 4-year terms. And it will be interesting to see. I think all of the incumbents are running for re-election from what I understand. So it'll be interesting to see who does run and how that's going to change the makeup of the council.
As council members, will you get to know the other candidates, and will you have a recommendation as to who you feel like would be a good choice?
I think, well, I certainly will get to know the candidates as best as I possibly can. When it comes to recommendations, that is going to be something I'll have to determine whether or not I'm going to make endorsements or not. Politically speaking, it's a lot easier, especially when you're running for your own election, to stay out of the endorsement business at your own level. And that just, because there are many people who will vote for me and who will vote for somebody who I didn't recommend. And they have their own reasons for voting for who they want to vote for. My job is to run for my own seat, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on.
And how do you recommend that people get to know those candidates better? How?
Well, I would expect that anybody running for this level of government is going to have some literature information that is going to have their website or their phone number. And the easiest way is to call them up and ask them questions about your area of interest. I mean, if you're concerned about what the city is going to do with this or what this person would do with this issue, give them a call. My phone number is on my website, and I'm always available to talk as best as I can.
Give your phone number here if you like. You dare?
Yeah, it's 360-771-4859. And the website is michaeldelavar.com, as DELAVAR.com, or michaeldelavar.com.
Great, yeah. Okay. When it comes to election time, we hope to be able to sit down and offer a forum for individuals so that people can tell the difference, because I expect there are differing points of view, there are different makeups that each one of these candidates have, and best way to sort them out is let people hear for themselves.
Exactly. And also, I think when it comes to incumbents, one thing you always have to pay attention to is which way do they vote. Because if we let incumbents at any level of government not be responsible for their own votes, they can get away with whatever they want to get away with. Very often, when it comes to campaigning, politicians will cherry pick the 1 or 2 issues, and we always do this. We market ourselves and we pick the 1 or 2 issues that we think are most important. We give that to the voters, so that in a couple of seconds they can say, oh yeah, that's right, I remember this issue, I appreciate his position. Oh yeah, that's right, I remember this position, I appreciate that. And so that's what all politicians and all candidates do. But when it comes to incumbents specifically, you have a long history of which way did they actually vote on all these other issues, which may not come to mind immediately, but are important. That's one of the reasons why on my website I actually have a drop-down menu that shows all the votes. I started cataloging all of my votes and the reasons why I vote on these different things as a result of citizen comment, actually. One thing that confused a lot of people or confuses a lot of people in city government is, well, what is an SPSA? What is a PSA with this? What's an interlocal agreement? And so on my website, I list all of the votes that I've taken. I think I started in the middle of 2010. And so every time I vote, I try to, on agenda bills, I try to explain the reason why I voted, what this contract is for, or what this agenda bill is for, and whether it, lately I've been adding on whether it passed or not, because I realized that if I say this agenda bill is here and I vote yes for it and it didn't pass, people can have the wrong impression. So that's also on the website.
That sounds like a good idea. So you've recorded every vote and put your source notes in there, an explanation why you voted like you did as soon as you got the idea, which is last year sometime.
Right.
Good idea. I wonder how many other people do that.
I'm not aware of anybody else in our city council that does that. And it's also part of my intention was that it could be a resource for somebody wanting to know, well, when did the city council vote on this, or what did they vote on last week? I try to get it updated as soon as I can after we vote on Monday, and sometimes it takes a couple of days for me to update the website. But yeah, it's intended to be used as a resource so that people can do a little bit easier research. It's far easier on my website to do that research than it is on the city website, but all the same votes are available on the city website as well for the cataloged city minutes.
Sounds like a good resource.
Exactly.
So you have some creativity there. You're a problem solver, it sounds like.
Yeah, when I can, it's great to be able to solve problems, for sure.
Good. Well, thank you for serving. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
It's been a real pleasure.
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
That's it for Clark County Today.